Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Tuesday, and all of today's guests, including Ian Furness, standing by. Brought to you by the Bayside Oceanfront Resort. Book your next corporate or private event at the Bayside Oceanfront Resort in Parksville. Whether it's a small, intimate event or a large gathering of up to 100 guests, the Bayside is ready to accommodate. Choose from their extensive banquet menu, created by their talented chef who grew up in Philadelphia. With focus on fresh, seasonal ingredients. Call 250-248-8333 or visit BaysideResortParksville.com. A lot of love, including from Mr. Bates in Richmond, about your story about failing a socials test in tandem with Mark Recchi.
Social studies did nothing for me if I look back, and it hasn't helped me later in life.
Mm-hmm. For instance, well, that would be more geography, the distance between Scarborough and Philadelphia.
Okay, move on.
Ian Furness joining us now from KJR Sports Radio and Seattle Q13 Sports. Bengals defeating the Seahawks on the weekend, 17-13. How are you, Ian? And thanks for doing
Gentlemen, how are you? Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you very much, and good morning to you as well. We had a
very formal.
Yeah, we had a crazy first segment. Was that one the Seahawks should have had, Ian?
It's one they have had in the past a lot. A lot of guys afterwards, I was talking to a couple of even assistant coaches off camera, and they're like, yeah, this is the game. We win these games. Like, these are games the Seahawks win. You know, you kind of kick it around all game, and then all of a sudden you have a chance on a final drive. They had two chances on two drives. One was 6 minutes to go. They got inside the red zone, got to the 6-yard line, couldn't score. Then they get first and goal from, the 7-yard line, and they couldn't score. So, yeah, those are games they normally win. It also shows the parity in the NFL this year. That's a team they lost to on the road that goes to the AFC Championship pretty much on an annual basis. So it's not a bad loss. It's one that you kind of look back and say, boy, it would have been nice to have that one. But 3-2 at this point with their schedule, I probably would have guessed that. I wouldn't have guessed that the win over Detroit looks really good. Like, week by week, that looks like a really good win. The loss to the Rams, not so much, but yeah, I mean, they probably are kicking themselves, but you know how it works in the NFL. They move on, and here we go to Arizona this week.
Yeah, 323 passing yards for Gino Smith, but he says he should have been better. Do you agree with that?
He wasn't good. He just wasn't good. I mean, that's a great case where the numbers are deceiving. He missed open receivers. He had a couple times. He had Jackson Smith and Jigba on a corner route, wide open, didn't pull the trigger. Same thing with DK, same route later, didn't pull the trigger. Horrible decision on the interception right at the goal line as well. I mean, just a bad decision. It was a bad decision by Gino on the interception that everyone blames DK Metcalf for it. Metcalf was like the fourth receiver on that. There's no way you make that throw. He did. That's why DK broke it off. So he just had one of those games. I'll be honest with you guys. He hasn't been great for a long time. This goes back to last season. This defense is carrying this football team right now. The defense, not the offense, is why they're 3-2 with the 3 wins specifically. And they have some things to clean up as well. Early drives in games. They've given up a 10-plus play drive on the first or second drive of every game this year. But they've been really kind of buttoning things down after that. But Gino hasn't really been good this year.
Well, Ian, the Seahawks offense isn't the only one struggling in Seattle.
No.
The Seattle Kraken. 2 goals in 3 games. What's up with that?
Just wanted to see how long it took you to get there with the Canucks doing what they're doing.
No, he asked Seahawks, and then I get it over to, hockey. And
tonight,
2 goals.
2 goals in 3 games. Rick, not good. Not good at all. Besser does that in a period these days, right? So that's not good. Goaltending has been great. Grubauer for 2, Decord for 1. They're perfect 11 for 11 on the penalty kill this year. That's good. Power play obviously has struggled. It struggled a little bit last year. They're tinkering at the lines a little bit. I'm curious to see when they host Colorado tonight in their home opener, and I'm curious to see they've been messing around a little bit with Bjorkstrand on the second line and dropping Burakovsky down to that third line with Gord and Tolvanen. So remember this team kept Burakovsky was out last year in the second half, but the top 3 lines effectively were together most of the season, certainly the last part of the season, the playoffs, and their top 4 defensemen have been together forever. And the number 3 pair is Schultz, and last year it was your guy, Soucy. Now it's It's Dumoulin. But yeah, they haven't messed around much with lineups or line combinations. Tonight might be the night to try to shake things up a little bit.
Ian, I am not an NCAA football guy.
No.
But I watched the Huskies and the Ducks. And I was amazed. Back and forth they went. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game.
Well, yeah, unless you wanted the Huskies to lose, and it was awful. But, that's what college football is, right? The emotion, the raw emotion, it is a true rivalry. Those two teams, those two schools, those two fan bases, they flat out hate each other. It was, and it's everything you expected. I mean, back and forth, and Michael Penix is a front runner for the Heisman right now. There's no question about that. I mean, I have a vote. I'd vote for him today, number one, without hesitation. And as a Cougar fan, that pains me, but it's true. He's the best player in the country. He's the most important player in the country to his team. There's no doubt about it. He's clutch. I think we just talked about Gino a minute ago. Making a play when you have to make a play. And Penix did that multiple times yesterday. He did in the game against them last year. Their defense is just good enough to hold up and make a couple plays. Some questionable coaching decisions by Oregon's Dan Lanning. But, guys, that's what college football in the States is all about. It really is. That type of atmosphere, that type of rivalry, that type of intensity. I think we've forgotten that in the world of name, image, and likeness and paying players and all the stuff that's going on, realignment. I think we forgot what college football is. We saw it the week before with Oklahoma, Texas, and we saw it in Seattle with those two teams.
Hey, Ian, what's more likely when it comes to Michael Penix Jr. as we get back to him winning the Heisman or going first overall at the NFL? I know I'm jumping ahead a bit here, but going first overall at the NFL draft. Yeah,
there's really no talk, Donnie, of him going number one. There's still questions about him going even in the first round, to be honest with you. And I know it sounds weird. I mean, at NFL, I don't know. I think all drafts are the same. They're all kind of head scratchers. I mean, most of us can look and say, hey, that guy looks like a first round pick. We see it every year in hockey, right? And you look at, I'll use this analogy. I mean, when Thomas Milich did everything in juniors but get drafted until he was 19, right? You kind of like, what are we looking at here? Oh, he's 1 inch too short, 1 inch too short by today's goaltending standards. Penix looks like an NFL, high draft pick. He throws an incredible deep ball. The knock against him, he had a bunch of injuries, serious injuries when he was at Indiana before he transferred to Washington. And he's older, 24, might be 25 by the time of the draft, with injuries, redshirt years, COVID, all that stuff. So there's a little bit of concern there with him. I watch him. I think, wow, that's an NFL quarterback. And, every year I see guys in training camps and in preseason games that end up making rosters. And I'm like, I don't see it. I mean, compared to this particular kid, but we'll see. The Senior Bowl will be really big. He'll go to the Senior Bowl. That'll be big for him. And if he puts on a show when he's taking snaps under center, he's got to make different reads, playing in a pro-style offense. That'll be good. He does benefit from a couple things. He's got 3 NFL wide receivers, and he can chuck it up to those guys. But boy, he throws a beautiful ball. I mean, he just does. I mean, he's a fun football player to watch, unless you don't like the purple and gold.
Yeah. So no comparison, like yourself, no comparison to Caleb Williams at USC.
Well, Caleb Williams is a lot more mobile. He moves around a lot better, runs around a lot better. Listen, Caleb Williams was Drake May from North Carolina, Caleb Williams from USC were the two guys 1-2 going into the year, and I don't know how much has changed there. But Caleb and USC have just scuffled, and they've looked. I mean, he's looked really not very good at times this season, and part of it's this maybe supporting cast around him. I think USC has distractions that no other school has down in Los Angeles. And with all the hype, I mean, he's on national subway commercials and different things like that. And I think we tend to forget these guys are still college kids. They may or may not be attending a class or two. They've got other things going on in their life that young people just have going on in their life, the stress, the pressure, things like that. And he has shown, a little bit of he's to me taken a half a step back this season compared to last year. But he's so mobile, guys. He runs around. He creates plays. If he's not number one, he'll probably be number 2 or 3, depending on what team's needs are. But yeah, Penix, I'm guessing, will probably find himself maybe about the number 4 quarterback taken when it's all said and done, but he could climb up as well.
Ian, thanks for this, and we'll talk to you next week.
Gentlemen, thank you. And Donnie, I hope you get your bed made next time you travel and get your sheets changed as well, buddy. It's those are those first world problems. I feel for you, brother.
Well, what do you think if you had the option of housekeeping versus $10 off of breakfast at a hotel? Yeah. What do you take?
Yeah. Ours, what we get down here is because we usually stay with Marriott, the Bonvoy, and they give us that same option, but it's not it's not $10 off. It might be $10 off, but they give us like what is it? Points, like points, travel points. I take the points. Call them, get an extra towel. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, but I feel for it. It is nice to walk into having a bed made in your room. I mean, it was
There
that
you
is.
go.
It's a tough call sometimes, Donnie. It's a tough call.
Tough call.
Thanks
Tough
for this,
call.
Ian. Appreciate it.
50-50. Yeah, anytime I can help.
Go make your bed. Thanks, Ian.